unapologetic, unadulterated, and uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, the impregnable super fortress of intelligent Black thought. This is the BlackChannel.net radio. I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And the telephone number is 646-787-1933. 646-787-1933 is your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. You are, of course, invited to join us. And join us you should, because on tonight's broadcast here, we would like to celebrate anarchy is what we would like to celebrate here. We would like to celebrate the violent thugs currently marauding and rioting and rampaging through the streets of Kentucky. Yes, sir, indeed. Why, tomorrow morning I expect to see Fox Noise, MSNBC, Joe Scarborough, Rudy Giuliani, of course. How can you make it without him? Pills Limbaugh, Sean the Moron Hannity. I expect to see all of them lined up, chomping at the bit to remind you all about the rampaging thugs burning and rioting and looting for the second year in a row. Now, for those of you who are not aware of what I'm referring to, if you watched basketball last night, I think it was Kentucky lost to Duke. And for the second year in a row, Kentucky, now these are majority white students, by the way, went on a rampage. They went absolutely nuts. They're out there rioting. There's blood in the streets, fires. The police had to arrest over 30 people. It's absolute anarchy out there. Absolute anarchy. Now, this is what you get because your white corporate media is not covering this. Your white corporate media has not sent out Don Lemon. They haven't sent out Brian Williams. Well, never mind about Brian Williams. But they haven't sent out the usual suspects to go and find out, why is it? What will someone come? Will someone contact Michelle Malkin? Can we talk about white on white crime? Can we discuss this? Brothers and sisters, this wasn't some minor thing. This wasn't just a couple of students blowing off some steam. These were great crowds and throngs of them out there. I mean, it looked like what it was, a civil unrest, a civil uprising. Now, they did have police out there in riot gear, but what they did not have police in tanks. They did not have police firing rubber bullets and real ones. They did not have police arresting reporters and causing a media blackout while they go and gun people down. They did not have their armored vehicles. They didn't have snipers on the rooftops. Matter of fact, there are pictures of the kids taking the selfies with police officers, by the way. The difference between what we're seeing happening in Kentucky right now as we speak and what we've seen everywhere else is night and day. Where were the tanks? Where were the armored vehicles? Where were the jackbooted thugs? Where was it? Where is it? Why is it that we're not seeing them out there? Why is it that we didn't see Fox News covering this wall to wall? The rioting in Kentucky over a basketball game. Black folk had a civil uprising because the police are killing us. And you're watching all these white kids rioting for the second year in a row behind a basketball game. Nobody was dead. Nobody was shot. Nobody was injured. They are rioting and there's blood in the streets. You got pictures of people being hurt and everything else behind a basketball game. Just a basketball game. Now, if this had been a rap music concert, if this had been Kendrick Lamar in concert and there was rioting, why Fox and Bill O'Reilly, they don't even know the music, but they would be there to tell you, these rappers, these thugs, this is black culture, this is what it is. Then I say this is white culture. This is what it is. This is it right here. That nobody has to be hurt or killed. We riot for no reason. We riot because we can. If I were Bill O'Reilly, I would be saying that they're rioting because it's in their nature. If I were Rupert Murdoch and Fox, I would say they're rioting because it is in their nature to do so. If I were them, that's what I would be saying. And what I want to know tonight, brothers and sisters from around the world, is what are we going to do about this white on white crime issue, this white on white crime wave that we're experiencing? What are we going to do about that? Shouldn't Jesse Lee Peterson be jumping up by now? Shouldn't he? Shouldn't Michelle Malkin be out there bumping her gums and talking about the white college thug culture? I mean, after all, if it's happened 2 years in a row, and Kentucky's not the only school, by the way, if this has happened 2 years in a row, 2 years in a row, then is it not safe to say now that at these white colleges, I mean, you got Levi Pettit talking about hang a nigger from a tree. You got some kid out there putting nooses at Duke. Clearly, this is urban terrorism. At the very least, this is domestic terrorism. They said that the Ferguson protesters were terrorists. Then certainly all of these white kids at Kentucky, these are all terrorists as well. Are they not guilty of domestic terrorism? Are we going to speak about this in the same terms? And are we going to demand the same tactics? Shouldn't we be doing the same thing? Why weren't the police out there pepper spraying everybody? Why weren't they out there using their rubber bullets on everybody? Why weren't they out there tear gassing everybody? Why is it that that wasn't happening? Why is it that Fox and CNN are not bringing us breaking news on the hour? Chaos in Kentucky, we can call it. Why are they not broadcasting live about the chaos in Kentucky and telling us all exactly what's going on there? But we're not speaking about that. We're not saying anything about that because, you see, this is the way in which white supremacy works. White supremacy is not founded on truth. It's not founded on accuracy. It is founded on exactly the opposite. It's founded upon its ability to lie continuously, to lie to every single person out there, to lie over and over and over again. That is how it survives. It survives because it is based and principled in deception, in lies, in creating a fantasy about itself and promoting a fraud about everyone else. If these were black students in Kentucky, there would be pictures everywhere saying, "See, that's what they do." Just like Ferguson, that's what they do. That's what the headlines would be. That's what the bigots would be saying. They would be saying, well, that's just what those people do. That's just what they do. It's the rap music. I say that this is Eminem's fault. What's happening in Kentucky right now, that is Eminem's fault. Eminem is responsible for this with all that thug music. And it's all that rock music that they listen to. Godsmack and Hatebreed and all that. It's all that rock music that they listen to. That is what is spurring this on and promoting this. There is a white college thug culture. And Kentucky has been victimized by it twice now. Twice. And I want to know what we're going to do about it. That's what I want to know. I want to know how we're going to handle this white thug issue. Because we have gangs of thugs, and we shouldn't make it a racial thing. They're thugs who happen to be white. Let us never forget to keep mentioning that. And I'm saying that this thuggery needs to be stopped. We need to call the city councils. Somebody should contact Crispy the Fraud. Since we've got a bunch of coon Negroes out here that every time something happens, they jump up and say, what about black on black crime? Somebody should contact the frauds and the clowns out there, since they like to go talking to city councils full of white people about black folk. Let's just go see if they're going to go speak to any city councils of white people about other white people. Let's see if they're going to do that one. Let's see if they go there and specifically say that, you know, I just wanted to point out that even though it is a bunch of white kids out here that, you know, we shouldn't say it's a racial issue. It's a civil unrest issue. And you should arrest every single one of them because they're tearing up our town. They're tearing up our town. I mean, if you're going to go full coon, then you should just go full coon and just take the wraps off of it. That's all. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to be reminding people of things like that, am I? No. No. I'm supposed to sit here and let it fade into the ether. No, no, no. No, no, no. See, there's a bunch of you out there on Facebook and Twitter. You notice today you can't find one damn coon, one damn ignorant Negro who was up here telling you a few months ago, what about black on black crime? We can't talk about what the police is doing to us because of black on black crime. Okay, where are those coons today to say that white folk cannot talk about what black people do? Because what about white on white crime? Where are the coons today to say you can't talk about what black folk do? You can't talk about police brutality and black folk. What about white on white crime? Where are the coons today? Has anybody been able to locate one of these people? Have you been able to locate one of these people in the last 24 hours? Anywhere? Do you have a mugshot? A spyglass? A drone sighting? Facial recognition? Anything? Can you find any of the people who just 2 months ago, what about black on black crime in Ferguson? Have they been vocal about this? No. You can't find them. You can't find them. You couldn't find them with an APB and a search warrant. And that is the proof positivity of their coonery. Right there. Right there. It's gotten this bold that now they're this blatant with it. Less than a year ago, there was rioting in Ferguson, and they said, call out the National Guard. There's rioting in Kentucky, and they're saying, oh, well, they're just kids. Cars are overturned. Fires are being set. People are being maimed and injured. The police are making mass arrests, but you wouldn't know this by watching the national media. Most of you found out today from people like me and Tariq and Aki. Thank you very much, Aki. Most of you found out today from people like us. You didn't find out from turning on your cable news. That's not where you found out. You found out through social media. You found out through other people. And what this proves to you is that the national white corporate media is exactly what I've always said it is. It is a white supremacist apparatus. It is just simply spewing its own propaganda. We will talk about blacks, and we'll even make it up if we have to. We'll just fabricate something. A story about black people being violent, even if there's nothing going on at all. We'll just say the word violent. Even if no violence actually took place, we'll still say it was violent. Throw that word in there. But if the white kids do worse, not the same thing, but worse, we will not even cover it. We won't even talk about it. And if you listen to them, they'll have you think there's just something minor going on. Have you all seen those pictures? These were huge things going on. These were huge events. These were huge demonstrations. These were huge ones. Absolutely huge. Black people were demonized for standing up for our rights, to say that you cannot be allowed to kill us. These kids are out here raising every candy-coated flavor of hell there is because they lost a basketball game. For the second year in a row. This is the second time in a row they have done this. The second time. The national media did not cover this in 2014. They covered it up and ignored it then. They did not create a national story out of it then. They did not refer to it as white teen thug culture then. They did not demonize white kids then. And a year later, in 2015, the playbook hasn't changed. They are not trying to make this a racial issue. They are not putting a spotlight on the perpetrators. They are doing none of the above. As far as they're concerned, they're trying to make you think that it didn't even happen. They're trying to give you the impression that these events didn't even occur, that it never even took place. And I want to know, where are they now? Why is it that you're so quiet now? Why is it you're not saying anything now? Will someone find Goldie Taylor and see if Goldie Taylor has some thoughts about this, since she's got so much to say about other black folk? Can somebody find Goldie Taylor and see what she's got to say? Can somebody find Ebony Magazine and see what they have to say about this? Can somebody find The Root and The Griot and see if they want to tell us about white thug culture? That's the part I want to find out about. Can we discuss white thug culture tonight? The telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That is 646-787-1933. And that's your personal access code to the Blackest Radio program in existence. The only one of its kind on planet Earth today, the sole solitary outpost of sanity in our time. And I want to know, can we discuss white thug culture tonight? Since your corporate media apparatus are not going to do this, and your black flunky apparatus in the media is not going to do this, they're only going to do what white daddy says for them to do. Since they will not broach the subject, you must come to the real black media. You got to come here. Because if you don't listen to real black media, you don't even know this is happening. You don't even know this is happening. You have no idea. Now, there was one notable exception, and that was the Daily Kos. They were one notable exception. They had their story, riots, looting, and fires break out in Kentucky. Don't worry, it's mostly white kids, by Tim Servo. It says, for the second year in a row, Kentucky has been bounced from the NCAA tournament. And for the second year in a row, riots broke out on and off campus in Lexington. Let me say that again. Riots broke out on campus and off campus. So anybody who tries to lie to you and tell you, oh, this was just the kids and it was just on the campus and it was just a few dorm rooms. No, it was not. As fires blazed in the middle of the street, citizens burned lawn chairs, shirts, and other items in protest of their loss. Now it says, fires broke out throughout State Street in Kentucky, with students chanting F this S. And that's rather ironic when you think about it. F this S, while throwing items and causing a disturbance. Fortunately for the students involved in this repeated riot, it is unlikely to result in an increase in militarized police force at their doorsteps or set curfews. Last year's riot in their loss to Kentucky turned particularly violent. It has a link to the New York Post. There's no word on whether or not President Obama caused these riots, and conservatives have yet to offer an assessment of how much this riot will cost the community, especially as an ongoing tradition. Numerous calls to the police department, fire department, as well as the deployment of police helicopters to monitor the events. It is unknown how much this adventure will cost the city at this point, or, as conservatives point out, whether or not this will deter outsiders from visiting the community out of fear. The city does not have at this moment projected costs. I'm unsure if Sean Hannity will have a long-form statement about those who rioted. I'm not holding my breath. This is probably the only white man in America who actually got it and understood it and had the guts and the courage to state it like it is. And I want to know where black folks are about that. Now, the reason why when the student said F this S, I can't use that language here, but the reason why that was particularly telling is because Rolling Stone just did a story about Rihanna, and she's in Indiana at her concert. Rolling Stone's article says Rihanna's still unreleased American Oxygen has become a staple in commercials promoting this year's NCAA basketball tournament. Rihanna also used her headlining performance in Indiana to slam Indiana's controversial Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Although the bill was amended to make it less discriminatory towards gays, Rihanna still unloaded on the RFRA, that's Religious Freedom Restoration Act, in an expletive-laden tirade prior to performing T.I.'s Live Your Life. Quote, "Who's feeling these new..." I'm going to edit her curse words, everybody. "Who's feeling these new bull-s laws that they're trying to pass over here? I say F that S," Rihanna told the crowd, inciting chants of F that S. Although Rihanna's March Madness performance was live streamed, her Indiana comments were heavily censored upon broadcast. Now, Rihanna is a media whore who has had absolutely nothing to say in defense of black people. She has marched and walked and skipped and danced over the bodies of Trayvon Martin, Jordan Russell Davis, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Akai Gurley, Mike Brown. She's had nothing to say about them. Nothing to say about the militarized police, but she will jump up for gays. So that tells you where her orientation is. It also tells you where her heart is. She doesn't give a damn about black people. Period. End of discussion. And she is not alone. She is not alone. Think about that. Think about that. So you hear the rioters and Rihanna chanting the same. No wonder she backs them and not us, because she is one of them. Several years ago, they called it the Arab Spring. I think now you can refer to this as the Coon Spring. Lee Daniels, Terrence Howard, Raven Simone, Rihanna. We don't just have coons walking the streets anymore. We got coons with wings now. We're going to go ahead and check the phone lines here and take a few calls. Please make sure that you're ready to talk to us if you're on the line. Caller from 313, you're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 313, put down the mollies. Last try, you're on live with the Black Channel. Okay, caller from 313 is out to lunch. Let's get caller from 214. You're on live with the Black Channel. And this is what the white supremacists do here when they're looking to say, we want to listen in, but we're hoping he doesn't see us over here. Caller from 239, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Yes, hello. My name is Jonah from Florida.
Okay, Jonah from Florida.
Yeah. I was just calling about yesterday. I mean, that video that you recently put up on the Black Authority channel about Isaiah Washington. I mean, that was pretty crazy. I mean, I don't understand why she did that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, because he did say it in the video. He was talking about white supremacy and all that. So, but, you know, it's just like a constant hatred towards black men, right? Because they're her own personal responsibilities, you know what I'm saying? So, pop it on every shaped penis in town. So, I mean,
well, they wouldn't have selected her otherwise. You see, what we have as black people in America, we have the misconception that these people are just randomly selected. They're not. Terrence Howard was not selected at random. He didn't earn his position, and he was not selected at random. Will Smith was not selected at random. Rihanna, Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki Minaj, these people are not selected at random. They're not just picked out of a hat. They are chosen. And they are chosen because they have let the establishment know that they are not a threat. They didn't come here to build anything or do anything for black people. They are not a threat. And just like you
said that.
If you met Kim Kardashian, for example, what threat to black people is Kim Kardashian? She bows, she runs to every black man she can. She's not a threat to black people. So if you were putting together an oppressive apparatus and you wanted to have a white face to promote a black agenda, who would be on your speed dial? Send Kim out there. Now, if other people don't know about her like that, then they'll just be looking at her and figuring, oh, well, she's like us. But if you don't know what she was doing before she blew up, then you wouldn't know that. By the way, you take a look at her history, it's atrocious. If you're on that particular side of it. So don't be deceived, anybody out there. These people are not chosen at random. They are not.
Yeah, I know. You had said something about that. You said there's two things that people are doing in black society. You was like, one, we try to create a niche for ourselves, and then you said we play it as non-threatening as possible. He was like, yeah, something like that. So, that's what it seemed like she's doing. But, I mean, it was reminding me of a broadcast you had did on your Black Authority. It was like the Bad Witch's Walking Papers. Now, even if she's doing that in that kind of form, can we say, like, she would get her walking papers too?
Rihanna's already got them. Brother.
No. I mean, what's her name? That on that video about Isaiah Washington. I forgot her name.
Well, there was a number of them, but I think you're referring to Yesha Callahan.
Yeah, Alicia Callahan. Yeah.
I mean,
could we say that
they've already got their walking papers? They've already got them. Brother, she's on the run. She took down a like page. She's not popping her head up on Twitter anymore. She's already on the run. And what she's waiting to see is if the root is going to take action or not, is what she's holding out for. They're holding out for that. But understand something. What we've done is we've transformed her name toxic. And it should be. And it should be. What happens too often is we as black people are just reactive. We're not proactive. We don't see people who are harming us and then get up and do something about it. We see people who are harming us and then we want to go back home. That's what we want to do. And that's not going to work. That is never going to work. When people are harming you, you're supposed to stop them. You're supposed to get up and do something. In Indiana, that's what the gays did. They got up and did something. They didn't just sit back and complain about it.
I mean, we did do something about Russell Simmons, about that debacle with Harriet Tubman. You know, so I mean.
True, but now we need to take it to the next level. From now on, it needs to be events like what happened on Madame Noir and Huffington Post. We need to get them to take their stuff down. We need to make some people persona non grata. If Rick Sanchez can be run off of CNN for making an anatomically correct statement that Jews are not underrepresented in media, if he can be run off CNN for saying that, just for mentioning Jews, then why is it that Yesha Callahan, Debbie Emery, Rudy Giuliani, and all the rest of their ilk cannot be run off media for even invoking the word black? Why is that? Why shouldn't we demand the same thing?
I mean, we don't have our economics together. We're not even on the same page. I mean, not most of a lot of us aren't. So I mean, we don't have the power to punish them. That's the only thing. Like, you know, we don't have a code of conduct that's passed around where if you do this, this is what's going to happen, and you have to set it up where you will not be able to recover from it. So, you know, we don't have that. It's just, this is why we being attacked on all sides, and we can't do anything about it. You know?
Well, I mean, but first of all, you have, as you said, we need the code of conduct, and the reason that we need a code of conduct is because everybody has got to understand what is a zero tolerance event, what is inexcusable. And we all have to have the same definition of what's inexcusable. You can't have your little definition over here and I have mine over here. You see, when you sit up here and say, I'm a feminist, then your definition of inexcusable is different than mine. Somebody says something about black folk and you sit there and you might smile and coon about it. They say something about black women, and for some strange reason, what is said about just women in general, that doesn't bother you, but if it's about black women, all of a sudden, okay, now it's a problem. But if you get upset over what people say about women, but not what they say about black people, that's a problem. That's a problem. Your definition is not the same as mine. Your definition of what is inexcusable is not the same as mine. Your priority of what is inexcusable is not the same as mine. And this is why black unity does not work, brother. And I've mentioned this before. I was the first person to tell you all to hell with black unity. I said that over half a decade ago. To hell with black unity. Because if black unity means that I have to put my gender ahead of my people, they're out here gunning us down because we're black, but I'm supposed to sit up here and make that secondary to some other issue. We got people saying that the most important thing is us getting our religion together. That we'll be okay if we get proper religion. Those people are not on the same. They're not on the same wavelength with me. They're not on the same. We're not going to the same place. I can't unify with you because you do not want to unify about what we need to. You're off on something else. I gotta leave you over there. I've got to. I've got to because it's not going to work. It's just not going to work.
I mean, you already talked about this in that video. What really matters is a bridge. Like, you know, it's not even about the problem. That's not even about that's the main issue with it. I mean, it's just socioeconomics. You know what I'm saying? So that's just some things we can't see. You know, having like, you know, I'm seeing that on Facebook, praying for, you know, for money to fall out of the sky. I'm like, that's not going to do anything. I mean, Isaiah Washington already said we need to focus on something else other than doing that for 400 years. It's not working. Marching and protesting, it's not working.
Well, I mean, but
it just doesn't work.
You have to understand the tactics that a person uses are indicative of the type of person that they are. A coward looks to passive tactics. They look to innocuous tactics. And they hope that they can do minor things and get big results. That's what they hope. Let me do some minor things and get some big results for it. Something for nothing. That's what a coward does. Let me march and protest, and let me attempt to change these other people by telling them how badly we are hurting.
Oh.
Now, that's what a coward does. Now, a person who is courageous and proactive, they look to measures that will change the situation regardless of what their opponents do. That whether your opponent likes you or hates you, whether your opponent is armed or unarmed, whether your opponent is marching on you today or next week, that you are taking a step that is completely regardless of whatever they are doing. And these steps will change your situation no matter what the other side does.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why you had that on your video, 7 a.m. Explained. It does not matter if they like us. It doesn't matter if they hate us. They will not be able to harm you. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just...
But is your goal not to be harmed? But is your goal not to be harmed? Because I'm looking at John Lewis, and he considers it a badge of honor that he got the tar beat out of him to sit at a lunch counter and integrate white schools. Is that a man whose priority is not to be harmed? Skip Gates. More people bragging about their ability to get beat up. Elijah Cummings. More people bragging about their ability to get beat up. James Clyburn. More people bragging about how many licks they took from Bull Connor's nightstick. Take a look at John Lewis getting beat up at a lunch counter. Is that a man whose priority is not to be harmed? That his ultimate goal is secure the safety of himself and his people? That's a simple question right there to everybody listening. Take a look at his track record. Take a look at their track records. Are these people whose priority is to not be harmed, or is their priority to not be hated?
Well, I mean, doesn't it sounds like a little bit of both. I mean, if you're getting harmed, sounds like somebody doesn't hate you. I mean, they hate you? I mean, sounds like a little bit of both to me. I mean, it does. I mean, I will say that is there a priority not to be harmed? Well, they probably are looking toward that. I mean, I can't say, you know, like walking out of my house, like, you know, something can't happen. So my priority is just, I mean, if it happens, it happens. But I just need to make sure that,
well, in his mind, let me clarify that now. In his mind, taking those licks was the way to secure his safety. As contrarian as that seems, in his mind, getting beat up is the way to secure your safety. That's what his logic and rationale are. If I get beat up long enough, eventually the world becomes a safer place.
Hmm. Well, okay.
Take a look at their
So,
actions. You take a look at their actions and you tell me what was the end result? What was the end goal? What did he truly believe by his actions? In other words, what proactive steps did he take? I'm going to walk into this lunch counter and get beat up. That was really literally their strategy. I'm going to walk into this lunch counter and get beat up. And what is your goal at the end of getting beaten up, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Clyburn, Mr. Conyers, Mr. Cummins? What is your goal at the end of this ass whooping? What's your goal?
I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is if their goal was to get beat up so they can get accepted. I mean, or to sit at the table.
And what I'm saying is that if that's your goal, is to sit at the table, then you're not here for your people. And this is why all those guys I just mentioned, they have had lifetime cushy congressional seats. Now their people got nothing. That's why we're still marching and protesting today. If marching and protesting were a solution, we wouldn't still be doing it today. If I told you that 50 years of you going to school and you will still be just as ignorant as you were on day one, you would be questioning how good of a school I'm running. And yet they're telling you that marching and protesting are going to work 50 years later. And you have nothing more to show for your marching and protesting today than you did 50 years ago. And here comes Ashley Yates and her little group of white-controlled propagandist agents to sit up here and mislead you all again to say the way we can deal with Darren Wilson is more marching and more protesting. That's the way we're going to deal with Darren Wilson. So we got into this mess because of marching and protesting. Marching and protesting didn't fix anything so far, and we'll fix this by continuing to march and protest. No wonder they are in revolt over what Isaiah Washington said. No wonder.
Yeah, I know. No wonder, man. It's not working. Entrepreneurship, owning, controlling, and pass something down. Power, wealth, and influence. That's the only way it's going to work. So, I mean, that's really it.
And that's the only thing that nobody wants to discuss.
I was trying to see if I can. Did you put up any more when you was gonna do more orders at 7 a.m.?
Yes, we were there. We've gotten everything in except for the 2-disc, and I really don't want to start it yet until I can fill the wholesalers and stuff with the 2 discs also. So, like I say, there was a delay with those. I won't get into it, but there was a delay with those. So I really didn't want to start again until that would happen because I know there's a bunch of people who are waiting for the 2-disc set. So I really want to try to get everything in all together so that we don't have any more people with any more confusion about that. But we are looking at having that here probably in the next couple of days. And definitely I will broadcast it far and wide the second that we've got those because I know everybody was really chomping at the bit for it.
Oh, yeah. I remember there was a post you had put up. You had put up a post, some people trying to show a screening without your authorization. How did that go? I'm pretty sure you took those people down.
Well, yeah, they got taken down, brother, but do you see how that goes?
Yeah, I know, and you had talked about that in your video. What was it, the homie hating hookup video?
Yeah.
Where somebody was trying to take some documentary 500 years later, and he was like, this is precisely what is killing us. So...
Yeah, I mean, this is what we do as black people here. You know, with 7 a.m., you've got means to do it legally, and these are your so-called African bookstores. This is one of your so-called African bookstores that did that, by the way. That's just one of them doing that. And I wound up cutting them all the way out. I wound up cutting them all the way out. Because who needs white supremacy when you've got black activists like that?
I know, that's what I'm saying. You were saying about doing the work for them. We will do the work for them.
7 a.m. was not free. 7 a.m. was not cheap. 7 a.m. was not free, and 7 a.m. was not cheap. And, you know, it's one of those things where if making a documentary was easy and simple and cheap, everybody would have one. If making a documentary was of the caliber of 7 a.m., if that was as simple as making a YouTube video, everybody would have one. The reason why documentaries are expensive is because what we're doing, everybody can't do. And instead of all of us doing like other communities doing, coming together, you got black folks sitting up here trying to figure out so many of them want to ride below the radar, and they're undermining us sitting right at the table with us. And that was why I put their names out there in great big huge letters, because I wanted everybody to know who that was. And just to be sure, again, that's the Shades of Africa bookstore. You know, I think that's in Long Beach. The Shades of Africa bookstore, those are the ones who wanted to take one of my 7 a.m. DVDs. They didn't want to pay the screening fee, but they wanted to try to hold a screening with one of the DVDs.
Okay.
And then you wonder why it is that other communities have their economics together. This is what we're contending with in black society. Negroes who are talking about Shades of Africa, and yet they do the work of white supremacy. That's satanic right there. It really is. If you're going to be a devil and working in the interest of white supremacy, you need to call your store Shades of the Klan. That's what you need to call it. You need to call it Shades of White Supremacy. That's what you need to call it. But don't call it Shades of Africa, because you don't have anything to do with us. I'll let you have the last word.
Just looking forward to, the 7 a.m. DVD, and, keep up the good work, brother. I'll be listening and watching.
Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Black First as always. Let me get caller from 609. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hi, Mr. Black.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, my name is Gary, and I'm calling from Trenton, New Jersey.
Gary from Trenton, New Jersey, and what's on your mind?
First of all, I want to thank you because everything you said has been on point, and I appreciate that. But I'm calling because I have a question, and I'm trying to start a business. I'm trying to start a catering business, and my father has most of the equipment that I can use to get started. But I don't know how to ask him. I don't know if I should ask him, because he knows what I want to do, and he's not offering it to me. And I feel like he's never done anything for me up until this point, so why should I even go there, with him?
Okay. First of all, let's find out a couple of things. How old are you?
That's another thing, Mr. Black. I'm almost 30 years old.
Okay.
I'm almost 30 years old. I'm 28. And, I'm at a point in my life where, I'm really, really scared. I'm scared.
You should
and
be.
I don't know what to do, but to try to do something for myself.
Okay. You say I'm almost 30 years old. You did not answer my question.
Yes. I'm 28.
You're 28 years old. How old is your father?
Yes. He's in his late 50s, I believe.
Okay. You don't know how old your dad is?
No, we don't really have a good relationship.
Okay.
Like that.
So what that means is that you were raised by a single mother.
Yes.
Okay. And that's why your daddy ain't did nothing for you.
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
I'm aware of that.
I'm wondering if you have any siblings, or are you an only child?
No, I'm not the only child.
How many siblings do you
I have altogether it's 5 of us.
Okay. And in situations like that, you either are an only child or you have a bunch of kids. Because a nigga that don't give a damn about his kids is usually because there was one or a bunch of them. If there's only 2 kids, it usually turns out a little bit different than that. And the reason for that, brother, is that, first of all, are all of you kids by the same man?
My mom has 3 of his kids, and the rest are by somebody else.
Okay, so we're playing musical chairs or musical beds or whatever. All right, so this tends to be problematic. And it tends to be problematic because, now you said she had 3 by him?
Yes.
Okay, so only 3 of the kids. That's what I was asking. Okay, you have 5 siblings. You got 2 others by with him. So, okay, in his case, then something else probably happened there. Now you said that your father has restaurant equipment. Has he run his own restaurant or something?
Yes. He's had a couple of catering businesses.
He's had a couple of catering businesses. That means he's not very good at it. So.
No, and see, that's another thing about him. Like, I don't like people who preach about things and then don't actually walk the path that they pass. Like, he's a big pusher. Oh, son, you need to go out here and do this. You need to go out here and do that. But then again, this is the same guy that wants to sell knives for some fucking company that I don't even know what it's about. But he'll rather sell knives for somebody else instead of doing something for himself.
Well, I mean, he hasn't done it. What he's done for all of you is indicative of what he's done for himself. You see, when you're interested in building for yourself, you build for your kids. But he's not building anything for you all because he's not really trying to build nothing for himself. That's how he ended up with kids by this woman. What assets does he have? Businesses, real estate, stocks.
He don't have any of that. From my knowledge.
Okay. What does he have any money generating assets? Is how you define assets. So he doesn't have anything.
I mean, besides paying a mortgage on a home, and I don't know what this man has.
A home is not an asset. A home's not an asset.
I know it's not an asset. Yeah, it's not. No, so he has, from my knowledge, he has nothing.
Okay, and that's the problem. So instead
just the job,
and more than that, he's upset because, and this is what hoes do. And it's one thing when females do it by being hoish. Now we got a bunch of dudes out here, and he's. Did he know his father?
His father.
Your grandfather.
His father was a deadbeat, and that's why I don't understand why he treats us the same way he treats his father. His father treated him.
Well, that's the reason for it.
That bugs me.
That's the reason for it.
But you want to do better. You should want to do better.
You should. Operative word there is not do better. The operative word is not better. The operative word is should. You should want to do better. Yeah, you really should. But brother, you're just gonna have to accept that we've got the civil rights generation and whatnot. Man, they don't give a damn about anybody but themselves. None. And your daddy became comfortable with a hand-to-mouth existence. As difficult as that's going to be for you to accept, your father became comfortable living that way. He's become comfortable with it. And now you would have to actually fight him to get him to leave it. He has become institutionalized.
Yes.
I've seen it before. I've seen it often. He is institutionalized now. He doesn't see any problem with the way he's living. And the other thing is, why doesn't it bother him, brother? Because he's not leaving no legacy. His life is not consumed or concerned with what he's going to leave for all of you. He's not. Your father. Ask your father, while you're asking about restaurant equipment, you ask that nigga what he wants to, how he thinks he will be remembered by others. And then after he answers that, ask him, and what have you done to get that? Now he's either going to tell you that he doesn't expect to be remembered at all, which confirms what I told you, or he's going to tell you all these lofty things about how great it'll be he's remembered, and ask him specifically about his children, how he'll be remembered. And if he says you all are going to remember him XYZ way, then the next thing you do is ask him, and what have you done? What have you actually done to make that happen? And watch things get very quiet very quickly. He'll start trying to bull jive you and talk about intangibles. Things you can't see, can't touch, can't measure. He's going to be talking about, I gave y'all a good mind, and I gave you a nice spirit.
I do this, and I've done this, and I've done that, and I'm sitting back. You wouldn't even give me money for books for college. Like I couldn't get. I was denied everything.
Well, I mean, but it's, in all honesty, brother, how much money for books for college did your mom give you?
She tried.
Okay,
she tried.
Brother, let's not fall.
I had to work.
Hey, let's not fall for that.
Huh?
Let's not fall for that.
No, you know, Mr. Black. You know, I understand that. You know, the women have a part in it too.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the real thing, okay? The problem is that you all get lost because so much of your mother's insecurities and failures, they basically teach you. They basically wean you on that. And so you end up sitting up here saying, your dad, he hasn't this, he hasn't that. And did you notice through this phone call, you never once mentioned what your mom didn't do? Not even once.
Mr. Black,
Here's the thing. If she's got 5 kids, she knew she was struggling with the first.
She got 3. She has 3. But I get your point.
Okay, slow down. You said that your mother had 3 kids with your father and 2 kids with another man.
No, I said my mother has 3 kids by my father, and he has 2 other by some other woman.
Okay, I thought you were talking about her when you said that. Your mother has 3 children. Your father has 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're 28 years old. Are you the oldest? Of the 3 kids, of the 3 kids of your mother?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All of them.
Did he? And are his other kids younger or older than you?
Younger.
Okay.
Way younger.
Okay. Now, the reason why I bring that up, brother, is because she knew she was struggling with child number 1. It's not like he was building nothing. And what'll happen is they'll get with a fellow who's pretty good about talking and they can pull off a pretty good bluff, but like I say, and then they say, well, your dad needs to be doing this, that, and the other, and you're right, he does. But at the same time, well, my dad didn't give me books for college. And what about your mom? She only had 3 kids.
Yeah, but my mom, I never told anybody this, but my mom is slow.
Okay.
And I really didn't expect too much from my mother. You know, she
Okay.
She don't have that mentality. Her mentality is not. Her mental state is not there.
Mm, okay. Well, I will simply have to accept your word for it. I don't want to get into the gruesome details of that. I will say that children tend to be kind where their parents are concerned, and I understand that.
No,
Um,
you know what? I'm gonna tell you, my mom is a Felicia. She's a Felicia, but I know she's slow because it's just runs in my family. I try to fight it myself. That's why I try to read and stay up on my current events and stuff like that because I know it's genetically I come from nothing.
well, understand something, brother. Mental sharpness is something that you develop. Nobody is
Yes,
born quick.
yes,
Nobody's born quick. It's something
yes,
that you practice. And you become as sharp as you want to be. So,
yes, sir.
like I say, I mean, you're talking to me, so obviously you're in the top 10% at least. You're talking to me. So the fact that you're even here demonstrates that. So don't sell yourself short on that, and don't I don't give out people I don't give people passes easy. Okay, I don't give people passes at all. I don't give passes, and the reason I don't is because the bar is high and I keep the bar high. Because as soon as you start lowering it for one person, somebody else says, "Oh, that's how you get a pass." Well, hey, I got the same problem. They can't even spell it, but they say they got the same problem. Where your dad is concerned, I mean, write him off because he didn't want these kids to begin with. Now, you said that your mom's a bit slow. What about your dad? Does he have the same issue?
No,
No. Now, I've mentioned
he's
this
just
before. In no disrespect or whatever, I've mentioned this before to everybody, is that as black males, so many Negroes are out here and they have no accomplishments in this world. So the only thing they actually have is to get some chick in the bed, and they don't care if it's the little throwed off chick down the street. As far as they're concerned, a win is a win. They don't care who it is. A win is a win. And so long as he can get her to do something with him, that's it. And so, because he's a guy, he doesn't have any accomplishments, he doesn't have any self esteem, he doesn't have any principles. So, he doesn't qualify for a Betty Shabazz. He doesn't qualify for a Coretta Scott King. He doesn't qualify for one of them. So, that's how he gets stuck, dealing with a different caliber of female. And we got a bunch of dudes out here, they don't qualify for something decent. They end up getting something else instead. So we're talking about the little chick down the street and they're slow or whatever. They don't have a problem with that. They don't have a problem with that at all. None whatsoever. So, and then after they do that and stuff, it's like, oh hell, they get her pregnant. Then they figure out, well, she can't read or write, but she can spell child support. She figured out how to get to the state building for some child support. She figured that part out. But not before he sat up here and cranked out 2 or 3 kids because he figured she was disposable. Now he's figured out it doesn't work that way. And it's the children who suffer. But to make a long story short, your father, somebody should have removed his scrotum a long time ago. Really. He is a walking menace to society and a disgrace and a waste to humanity. He's got 5 kids and doing nothing for any of them. And that's the shameful part of it. I'm going to make a suggestion to you tonight. You said you want to start your own catering business. What makes you think that you're qualified to run a catering business?
Oh, well, I've been doing this for about over 13 years. and I'm just right now I'm laid off. I'm laid off from my job, and I can't find a job. I don't know if I'm being blackballed from my current job or what's going on with that situation. But so I'm trying to do it for myself, and that's pretty much it. I have enough experience.
Okay, well, no, my thing is about I want to find out what you know about the business because you should never get involved in the business you don't understand. Now, catering is basically cooking for people. Food service is the hardest type of business to get involved in.
Yes,
One of the very hardest,
I know.
one of the most competitive. Either you have a really hot product or you develop a really good customer base. And it takes time and money to develop both of those.
Well, sir, I was just going to start selling dinners out my kitchen for right now, just to get started, and just so I can have some type of something to save, some income coming in where I can save, and build up my clientele, and start from there.
I find that a little odd. I find it a little bit odd though. I don't understand. Something's not right with what you're telling me here, and I'm not being accusatory. Something is missing here.
No,
Stop.
like what, sir?
Stop. Something's missing. You say I don't know if I'm being blackballed because of my job. What type of work did you do before you were laid off?
Um, I'm a I'm a chef manager. I'm a chef.
Okay, you're currently a chef now.
Yes,
Okay. Have you been formally trained?
yes, sir.
Okay, so you've actually been to school to be a chef.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well that's good. At least you have some credentials behind you. New Jersey's going to be a tough place to ply that trade, but you already know that.
Yes.
Okay. I can give you
I was.
I can give you a number of suggestions, but in all honesty, I don't see them working for you based upon what I've heard so far. I do not see them working for you. All those things a lot of the things you're telling me concern me. I've heard you mention a number of things. I have not heard you mention yet about where your customer base is and how you will reach them.
Okay. I have my parents work for the state, so I was going to target the state buildings around here, doing from hours like four to 12
Right, but
during the night.
you started the phone call by telling me that your daddy's a no good Nick and you can't depend on him for nothing.
Oh no, actually I'm referring to my mother.
You said my parents, plural.
Yeah, well, when I said parents, I was thinking of my mom and my aunt and a couple of my aunts.
Okay, well you should say my folks or my family. Your parents are your mom and your dad.
Well,
So,
no,
since we have determined we're dealing with a limited social network for that, as far as equipment is concerned, and yes, you will need equipment of some kind, otherwise you'll be a bit limited in what you can do. Um, I think possibly a food truck would be right in your future, to be totally honest.
that's what I'm working towards. That's what I want.
And I think you should get a rinky-dink ass job to save up your money to do that. Let me explain to you right now, because too many of you, because you haven't been formally taught and whatnot, you all don't know the difference between economics and nigonomics. Okay? Economics is when you go out, you learn, you network, and you properly invest, and most of all, you are properly capitalized. The majority of all businesses fail within their first 3 to 5 years, and the reason for that is number one reason is they were undercapitalized. That's just a fancy way of saying they did not have enough money to stay in business. They got enough money to get started. In other words, if I tell you how much is a food truck insurance and whatnot, and you tell me $30,000, so you go off and go save up $32,000. And so you open your business on day one with $32,000. In reality, you've only got $2,000 in the bank. You have not factored in your expenses rolling over the next 30 days. You haven't done that. If your truck and getting started is going to cost you $30,000, you need somewhere closer to $100,000 to $150,000 before you roll that truck out anywhere. But if you don't know that, you're going to walk out there and get your ass handed to you. Because it may be a situation where just this is not going to work. Then again, it may be a situation where you got customers and whatnot, but the income is not coming in fast enough to be able to sustain you on its own. So you need to be able to pay your bills in the meantime until your profits begin to catch up with your expenses. And that's why you need to be properly capitalized, to give your business time to reach profitability. Build it and they will come works in movies. It don't work in real life. So number one, I see you walking into this grossly undercapitalized. Working out of your kitchen is a fine idea for grandmas. It is not for a chef. That's not going to work for you. Do you have a vehicle?
Yes.
What kind?
Nissan Murano.
A Nissan Murano. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're saying that real uncertain. Are you?
No, yes, I have a Nissan Murano.
Okay, a Nissan Murano, that's a mid-size SUV. It's that one with the little funny bug eyes and the crazy lamps on the back of it, with that rounded look that Nissan thankfully gave up on. But at least it's an SUV. So to be totally honest with you, that's actually not a bad one to have for you to be mobile with things.
Mm-hmm.
What did you want to specialize in doing?
I was going to do, I'm fusion. I'm thinking Italian, but I'm also developing my skills in Asian and Asian flavors.
Okay. I guess that's an option for you as well. Why not soul food instead?
Because Mr. Black, I know that's where I was going to start. I was going to start with soul food, but I never was really interested in soul food.
Okay. Are you trying to run a business or are you cooking for yourself?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Because you see, with rental properties, I fix it up enough so that my tenants can stay there. I don't do stuff that I would do in my house. See, my house is where I live. My rental property is where you live. So what I'm going to do with my rental property is not necessarily what I'm going to do with my house. When it comes to business, my man, you don't set your business up for yourself. You set it up for your customers. I've explained this to you all before, like in the porn business, for example. Most of your black porn is paid for and produced by whites. But these white men who make it, they don't go off and go get the women that appeal to them. A size 6 with thigh gaps and scrawny legs and overinflated plastic breasts. They go and get something that black men like. A size 10 with thick thighs on her. Now, for him, he's not personally interested in that, but it has nothing to do with what he's personally interested in. He's selling a product, and he's going to get what his customers like, not what he himself is personally interested in. It'd be different if what he was personally interested in was what he can make money off of. If you're going to go into business, the first thing you do in the business is supply a need. And you try to find the sweet spot where, as Dr. Anderson said, where you have a market. And what you just told me that I want to do Italian and Asian. So who will be your customers?
That's what I'm trying to target Caucasians, and that's the market I wanted to target.
Right. Now let me say this one more time. So who will be your customers? If
Business
you're
workers.
no. You said I'm gonna make Italian
Well,
food and Asian. So who are you going to then?
I'm confused. I'm sorry.
You just told us. I'm gonna make Italian food and Asian food. So obviously what that means is your customer base will be white and Asian.
Oh, well, so, I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm about to say
more
now
along
here's
like,
where we go with the build it and they will come. Brother, understand something.
yes.
How much you are a black man who's going to go try to do business with white folk. How much white competition do you already have for those
tremendous
for those dollars?
I get you.
So you are trying to tap a market outside of your own community.
Yeah, yes, sir. And that's,
So
that's
you
wrong.
so you
That's
are
wrong.
gonna
I
go
get
you are gonna go and try to throw elbows in somebody else's community, in somebody else's market. That's what you're about to go try to do. Think that over.
you. Yes, sir.
As far as the Asian thing, once again, you're going to go try to throw elbows with people outside of your community. Think that over.
Thank you, Mr. Black.
Wait a minute. Now,
Oh,
I'm not telling you that you can't do anything. What I'm saying is that why is it you are not trying to build what you do when you build a business is you gather the people who are around you. You don't try to go to the other side of town and gather those people. You gather the people who are around you. That's where you start. And what you're saying is, well, the white side of town, that's where the money is. Yeah, but the question is, can you get that money? Because they've got their own people to supply that with them. Why would they go to you if they got their own people? No matter how wonderful you are, why would they go to you? Now, I'm saying this is without your food truck. This is just you working out of your Murano. Why would they go to you when they have their own people?
But that was future. For starting off, I was going to do soul food.
Okay.
I definitely that is my target right there.
Okay. Let me ask you a more important question, because there was something else that you said that was much more important. You said that you've already been a chef. You've been doing this for 13 years, and yet you found yourself unemployed and laid off. And I worry that that may be part of a systemic problem. Have you considered doing something other than cooking?
No.
And I know,
well, yes,
know that that's
yes.
a tough thing to ask. I know that, but it's time for you to start asking that.
I know.
Have we considered that of doing something other than cooking, something that will not leave us so financially vulnerable? Because I know you probably love cooking, and that's fine, brother, but you can't cook for nobody if you don't have any money. So what do we do to make ourselves stop being financially vulnerable so we can actually fully flesh out doing what we're doing? Why can't we try that first?
Yeah, I've been hearing what you talking about the computer science. So
Well, that's
I
one
was
thing.
I was
Whoa,
thinking
whoa.
about.
That's one thing. But I mean, you've got plumbing, you got pipe trades, you got electrician. There's a number of trades that you could learn. That those things will help solidify your income until you can get your catering off the ground solidly. You wouldn't be the only one. Brother, I haven't been able to use what I got a degree for until 7 a.m. That's 20 years later. I had to support myself and build something in the meantime. So I'm not telling you what I think, and I'm not telling you something that I myself have not been through. We all have what we want to do, but what you want to do is a belief system. What pays your bills is a fact system. And when we start trying to make the real world conform to our beliefs and not our facts, that's where we get in trouble. So the fact is that you need to pay your bills and you need to get some money together. And the fact is that whatever is going on in the food business right now, here's my other problem is that you said that you haven't been able to get another job. I'm supposing that what you're saying is you haven't been able to get another job at cooking, correct?
No, no. I've been going to different hotels, different restaurants, and then I've been doing the online thing, and I really don't know what's going on. Like why I can't. I don't know if I'm pricing myself out, or I really don't know, and I don't have nobody to help me or to go to talk to about these situations. I don't know.
Okay. What are you asking for when you go on one of these jobs? What are you asking for?
Well, 40, and that's cheap as a sous chef
You're asking for
in a
$40.
hotel.
You're asking for $40 an hour.
No, 40,000 a year.
Oh, 40,000 a year. Okay. And how many
And
people
that's cheap.
apparently not, because nobody's taking you up on your offer. Usually what happens is an employer tells you how much they want. Have any of them actually told you what they're willing to pay?
Yes.
Okay. What did they tell you?
My last interview it was 50, I think, or 55, something like that.
They told you that they're willing to pay 50,000.
Yes.
Okay. And you told them you'll accept it?
Yeah, when I go on interviews, I try not to focus too much on money. I try to sell my skills and what I can do.
Well, here's the problem that I have. Here's the problem I have with what I'm hearing. The problem that I have with what I'm hearing is a guy with 13 years experience shouldn't have any problem getting hired anywhere he wants to. This is what I meant before about a part of your story is missing.
Mr. Black, I'm giving you all. I don't know
what happened. What happened at your last job?
Well, I still work for them, but I just don't want to go back. My boss, I can't grow there because nobody leaves, nobody wants to quit, nobody gets fired.
Sounds like a stable place, but go ahead.
And my boss, like the last 2 years, they've been like it's like I'm being attacked. I don't know if it's because well, I've been told that from my staff, I've been told that when I talk to them, I'm yelling and I'm I'm like I give them attitude or whatever, and my boss has been having conversations with me like I need to tone myself down, and all the typical stuff. You're too big, and you're a black man. You're scaring people. So like situations like that got me turned off from going back. And then as well, I'm developing menus that my boss is saying that he's going to implement for my department. But when it comes down to it, when I give him the menu, he's taking my ideas, but he's not implementing he's not putting it into my department. He's not allowing me to do it in my department.
Okay,
So,
now you said before that you were laid off.
Yes, but I've never been laid off this long.
How many of you got laid off, or was it just you?
No, I'm not the only one that gets laid off. It was more people that got laid off, but I never been laid off this long. Like, no, excuse me. Normally I would have been back in last month or the month before that.
Okay. Well, something's definitely not going well there. In any case, it doesn't appear, like I say, that's not a good sign. That definitely isn't.
No, it's a whole. See, I work for a country club, and the atmosphere is not right. Like I feel like I'm being pushed out, and I don't want to go back. That's how I feel.
It's probably a smart move.
And that brought on me wanting to do the catering thing, and suck up my little bit of pride and just go to my father and ask him, can I borrow his equipment?
Okay. Well, you can definitely try that if you think he has enough equipment. But it sounds like you have a lot of reservations about the efficacy of that. You sound like that's going to be an exercise in futility. I don't know if it will or if it won't. But I think you should pitch the idea to him and see what he says.
Oh.
Can't hurt you to try that. But, I mean, when was the last time he used his equipment?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
When was the last time he used his equipment?
It's been years.
Where is his
it's
equipment?
It's been like 2 years.
Where is his equipment?
In his garage collecting dust.
It's in his garage collecting dust. Okay. That's not a good sign. In any case, yes, you can contact him. You can ask him. I'm not optimistic, but wouldn't hurt you to talk to him about it. I mean, you got nothing to lose from it. In the meantime, I think your backup plan should be, your main plan, talking to him should be your backup plan, but just get that out of the way so that you don't have to wonder what's going to go down on that. Because I'm more concerned about if he lets you use it, him acting a fool later. Nothing's worse than getting something going and somebody wants to act a jackass after you've gotten started. But in the meantime, brother, like I say, you are probably... something is happening in this food service business where you are. Something is definitely occurring. I'm not really sure because I don't think I got all the facts just yet. But what I will tell you is that I think that you need to have another skill that you need to develop in the meantime so that you can get your money moving, so that you can start moving in that direction. Since you know that you ultimately do want to do food service, I think you should have something else to help supplement that. Clearly, since you've been doing this 13 years and next thing we know, everything's gone dry, because the only other thing that you could do, brother, is try some other place besides New Jersey. Have you done that?
No, sir. Do you have any like...
What about New York?
New York? I would love to be in New York. I just don't want to live in New York.
Okay, I didn't ask you which. I did not ask you what you want to do.
You're right.
By all means, stay in New Jersey if you think that's going to work out for you. Let me know how that goes.
No, New York sounds beautiful.
Here's my real thing, brother. If you try to go someplace other than New Jersey and you can't get hired there for what you were talking about before, and 40,000 is cheap for a chef. If you go to New York and they ain't touching you, then something I have not been told is wrong. And it's time for you to face up to what that is and accept the reality that whatever it is sidelined you in your preferred mode of business, and you got to go on to something else. Nobody wants to hear they have to make a career change, but sometimes that happens.
I've actually really thought about. I thought something was wrong with myself too. I evaluated myself. This little time I've had off, it gave me time to evaluate, and I'm good at what I do. I love it. I love what I do. I love it. So I don't understand what's the problem when it comes to landing these positions or moving up the ladder. Like I just don't get it.
Well,
I've been in school. I've done the schooling thing. I've been working in the field, and it's like I'm stuck.
Like I say, there may be a number of different reasons for that. I'm not totally convinced it's a racial one, but I will tell you that I think that you're underskilled. You've only got one skill to fall back on, and that's not panning out right now. You're 28 years old. I do think that you're in prime shape to get another skill so that you can, something that you can own, so that you are not beholden to the whims of the food service business.
Gotcha.
Because right now, like I say, even with you going into that, that'll be difficult. If it were me, I would ask my dad about that, see what's going on. You need to, before you do anything, you need to make a business plan. You need to make a business plan that covers you for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. You need to have your 12-month plan, your 36-month, and your 5-year plan. You need to have those.
Okay.
So that you map out, here's what I need, here's my expenses, here's what is going to cost me to go to these different places and sell, here's what I'm going to be doing. You don't want to just get out there and be winging it. You need to have a plan and execute it. My next thing was to tell you that, maybe you don't necessarily need to be a chef, but definitely if you're going to try to go into that business and stuff, that's going to be the first thing you're going to want to try to do, is make sure you have your ducks lined up on your own, since you have worked for other people. Here's the problem that I have with your idea. The problem that I have with your idea is that it's not something that you went into on your own. It was something that you were forced into. And I have questions about how well that'll go when somebody goes into something that they were forced into. I have questions about that kind of thing. So my advice to you is going to be to take it slowly. By the way, how's your credit?
Man, I'm sorry, man. They riding bikes in the back of. My credit is bad. Like my mom helped.
I didn't hear you. Say it again.
I said my mother helped me fuck my credit up. My credit is bad.
Okay, so we have a chef making $40,000 a year, but he drives a Nissan Murano, not a Kia Optima, well, the old Optima, not a Hyundai Accent. He drives a Nissan Murano, but his credit is sideways. How did your mom help you mess up your credit?
It started when I was young.
It started when you were young. Define young. You're 28.
Well, when I was 18, opened up couple credit cards for her, and my credit is not bad, but it is like I have some things to
Okay, now
work on. But
do you realize that I asked you a straightforward question and you didn't answer it? Do you
yeah,
realize
you're
that?
right.
Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. If this is the way you came across in your job interviews, that might explain a few things. Because you see, an employer is not going to take you on being evasive. He's not going to take you on. I'm asking you straightforward questions, and half the time you're being evasive.
You're right.
I was young. When I was 18, my mom opened a couple of credit cards for me. And then you went on to something else. What happened with the credit cards?
She never paid them.
She never paid them.
No.
Okay. Here's what's wrong with your story there. She opened them up when you were 18, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. How long did you have those cards?
She had them up until 2010.
Okay. So she had them for 5 years. What was the credit limit on them? Couldn't have been much.
I'm not sure about that.
You don't know what the credit limit was?
No.
Okay. You do understand that this story sounds problematic. I've seen this kind of thing happen before, but you do understand this story sounds problematic.
Well, I didn't open them up for her. She opened it up in my name.
Okay.
So I don't know what the limit was.
How did you qualify for a credit card at 18? How did you qualify for one? Did you have a job? How did you qualify for a credit card at 18?
Well, she was, I guess, my mom was using my credit when I was younger. So I guess by the time I got of age, I had a certain amount of credit. So
your mom was using your credit when you were younger.
Yes.
That doesn't even make sense. You were 18. She was using your credit when you were 15. That doesn't even make sense.
Sorry, she was getting light bills and public cable and.
Okay, she was one of those. She was one of those people.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. That's to open up accounts. That's not credit. A light bill is not credit.
Yeah, but when you don't pay it, it goes on to.
When you don't pay it, it does go on your credit report. What you need to do is you need to you're 28 years old, first of all. Now, you said she had already done that. Ain't no light bills or electric bills on your credit report today from 10 years ago. Definitely not from 13.
Well, no, none of that stuff is on. I have my student loans, and I'm still paying for a car that I didn't pay. I still have a car on my report. Those are the two, and a credit card that she has in my name. 2 credit cards that she has in my name. Those are the only thing on my credit that's hindering me from getting a loan.
Okay, well, here's the problem about the credit cards that she opened. You could have taken action on that, but you didn't. That makes your story sound suspect. Because you're sitting here telling me that you knew she had them the whole time.
Yeah, I did.
Now, if your mama's committing fraud, why did you not stop her?
Just stupid, man. See, man, I didn't know what I know now. I didn't know.
Well, like I
I
said,
didn't know, Mr. Black. Like
and
I'm learning a whole lot. It's like my whole life I wasn't being taught anything, and now I'm just smack dead in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff that I have to learn.
yeah, in a lot of cases, people get used to their parents abusing them. But what I'm saying, brother, is that you knew that she had those credit cards and you didn't take any action on it, which means you were probably getting something out of it. And now you're finding out that whatever little toys you got, it was not worth what you're ending up with now, because even if it's
You know,
only
sir,
not
you know,
even if it's only
I've
nominally, brother, stop talking.
I have nothing to do with those credit
Okay,
cards.
I
Like
said I said stop talking, and you're still talking. If
Okay.
you knew so much, I would be contacting you, not the other way around.
So,
I'm telling you, because everything you said tonight, you've said one thing after another, and all of them don't add up. And it would be different if I were 10 years old and didn't know any better. Brother, your stories are not adding up the way that you're giving them. And the rationales do not add up the way you're giving them. So what I'm doing is posing a rational scenario, because the ones you're giving don't make sense. Now, let me explain to you what you're looking at, okay? If your credit is jacked up, that means that you can't go and ask for a loan to be able to get restaurant equipment on your own. You don't have the ability to do that. Obviously, your family's a dead end, and apparently you don't even have any friends that you can talk to, so you don't have any capital sources to tap into. That means that you're going to have to save it up on your own.
yes.
Even rebuilding your credit is going to be a long-term ordeal. It's going to take you a few years to do that. So those are your options. Get your dad to unask his equipment, or you can save up the money yourself. But those will be your options for what you've been discussing. I, however, do not think that will be enough. I think you're too vulnerable. I do not believe that for whatever reason you are not able to land another job for whatever reason. I think that trying to go into food service the way that you're doing it is simply too vulnerable. Because right now you want your dad's equipment. How much money in savings do you have?
I have about 2,000, and it's dwindling
Okay,
down real fast.
you don't have any savings.
I don't. I don't have anything.
You do not have enough money to start your own catering business. That is my answer to what you said tonight. The bottom line is you do not have enough money to go into business. You need to be looking into doing something else. You do not have enough money to go into business. There is no reason that a chef with 13 years experience cannot be hired as the head cook at IHOP, Waffle House, whatever. There's no reason. It's time for you to take a step down. And if you're still not getting hired, then whatever you're not telling me is the reason you're not getting hired. And that's all the more reason you have to go into something else. If you can't get nothing in New Jersey, okay, then
get those jobs.
Okay, it might be time for you to go there. Now, if you're going to sit up, I don't even need to hear what the rest of your sentence is. I can get those jobs, but there ain't no but, because you've already told me that you've tried to put in for chef positions and can't get it. What you going to do, wave a magic wand and make somebody hire you or get a new position to open up? You've already told me you can't. So what are you going to say next? What were you going to say next? I can get those jobs, but what comes after but? I can get those jobs, but what?
You're right.
Okay. And if you were acting like this with your employer or prospective employers, I think we found the reason why you're not getting hired.
No, of course not.
You were. Yeah.
No, sir.
Yes,
I would never
yes,
act like that
yes, you were. Yes, you were.
I'm laughing because you're right. That's
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a bit of advice for character and personality. Less is more.
I got you.
And the less you say, the more you'll help yourself. In this and other experiences and scenarios in life, the less you talk, the more you'll help yourself. Because if you had the answers, you would be executing those answers, not asking other people about them. When I went to go make 7 a.m., how many of y'all did I come to ask you for help or advice? I didn't ask any of you. And when I was editing it and marketing it and promoting it, how many of you all did I call and ask for help or advice? Nobody. That's what you do when you know. You just go off and execute. You don't start talking. You just go execute. So you are unprepared for this. I don't think that you have the emotional temperament to run your own business based on this conversation today. If you go out there, you're going to get knocked flat on your ass because you don't have the money, you don't have the discipline, and you don't have the temperament necessary to run a business. You don't have the connections, you don't have the help, you don't have the resources or the support system. All you would do is take your dad's equipment out, dust it off, and waste 30 or 60 days of your life with it because you're not prepared. Go do something else. Get you another rinky-dink job somewhere else. Get you some money coming in, and go save you up $30,000-$40,000. Pay off your damn debts, and you need to give yourself a 12-month or 16-month plan that you're gonna get your money together and everything together over the course of the next 12, 16 months. Well, 12 to 18 months, the next year, year and a half. That's what you need to do. But what you're thinking about doing, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, yes, yeah. Everything you said was spot on, and I called to get your advice, so I thank you very much, and have a good night.
Black First, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. I'll take one more call here because I got some things to see about. Let me get caller from 219. You're on live with the Black Channel. Sounds like they got Empire on. Okay, caller from 219 immediately hung up when I said that. What did they say? Oh my goodness, I've got stage fright. The Black Channel is a place where we deal in what we know, not in what we think or what we believe. I'm not going to tell anybody anything that I wouldn't want somebody saying to me. I'm not going to do that. When I hear something that's not right, I'm going to say it like it is. Because I want all of you to succeed. And in his case, you don't have parents talking to you. You don't have people who are going to tell you the truth like it is. I'm going to be that guy who's going to tell you. What you do with it from there is up to you. In the 21st century, white supremacy is just taking bodies. And as he's learning, they can freeze you out of the job market. They can make sure you don't eat. They can literally make sure that you do not eat. And unlike his mother, there are no social programs that he is able to apply for or get on to help him. His mama had social programs that she could apply for. There are none he can go for. He's got to fly or die. And that's just it. That's where we're at now. If anybody's able to get a hold of Michelle Malkin, Goldie Taylor, Ebony, Juan Williams, Lamont Hill, or any of the other what about black on black crime people. Ask them about Kentucky rioting behind losing the damn basketball game. Ask them about that if anybody meets them, by the way. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, brothers and sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.